What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free. To live your best life, you must live label free. And I'm back with another incredible guest. My guest today is a trauma recovery expert working with vets and survivors of interpersonal trauma. She's also a podcaster of the Heal Thrive Dream podcast. I love that name. She also hosts her own summits, retreats, and she offers free healing intensive to her community. Please welcome Karen Robinson. Karen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for hosting me.
It's a pleasure to have you. I think that trauma has become such a real thing in our world and that people are finally starting to talk about. I don't think that we really talked about it too much, maybe like 10, 20 years ago. And now it's like I think it's a very powerful thing to say, hey, I've had trauma. I want to heal from it. But I would like to know what brought you to this being your focus, because it's usually something that happens in someone's life that brings them to where
Right,
they are, where they're doing the work that they were intended to do.
right. And it's really interesting because I used to wish those things hadn't happened to me. And of course, I don't wish them to happen to anyone.
Yeah.
But man, where would I be? Who
Yeah.
would I be if those things hadn't happened? So I am what I call a complex trauma survivor. And for those in the audience who don't know what that means, it means that it started with developmental trauma, which is trauma that happened sometime in my childhood. And there was significant trauma during my childhood. I was raised in a dysfunctional home
Mm.
where my father had some learning disabilities. Didn't have a work ethic. He was also a trauma survivor himself.
Yeah.
Mostly physical abuse is what I understand, maybe some emotional abuse, definitely bullying. He was a
Yeah.
short guy, went through stuff. My mom was also a complex trauma survivor. She was an incest survivor and just had multiple traumas during the course of her lifetime.
Yeah.
And then the two of them together were just a hot mess. It was dysfunction junction.
Yeah.
There was domestic violence, more so emotional than physical, but some physical things happened. There was extreme poverty. There was child abuse. There was emotional abuse. There was physical abuse. And then a lot of sexual inappropriateness is like how I would like to describe it. I also learned later, I didn't know at the early parts of my childhood, but both of my grandfathers are actually pedophiles or were
Oh,
pedophiles. And so to be born in that legacy is just really heavy.
yeah.
And at the age of 12, I had a pretty serious suicide attempt, yet I was fine. It was the most bizarre thing. And so sometimes I joke like, oh, it was the no-name Tylenol that I used because we were so poor. But I really think it was divine intervention.
Yeah.
God had his hand on me and was like, I have a purpose for you. You're not taking this exit right now. This is not your time.
Yeah.
And so that was my early trauma. And then in adolescence, I ran away from home because of the trauma. I decided this isn't for me. I am not putting up with another minute of this. I ended up living with my aunt and uncle. They became my legal guardians. And during high school, I mostly excelled with school, but relationships were sort of
Wow.
a hot mess.
That's
I
that's
ended up,
odd that you were excelled in school, because usually people that have that going on are pretty detached.
well, that was early. I had troubles reading at the very beginning of
Okay.
school. I missed a lot of school because of the family dysfunction. I also had a lot of medical issues early on. I was a hospital a lot of lung issues, which is typical with kids and trauma as well. And so eventually school became my safe haven.
Yeah.
And it was something I could overdo. I was over studying, over committing to sports and social activity, more so after I moved or ran away, I should say, because then I had opportunities. When I lived with my parents, the opportunities just weren't accessible to me.
Sure.
We
Yeah.
didn't have money for the band or didn't have money to go to sporting events, that kind of thing. So I excelled living with my aunt and uncle because there was food on the table, there was a warm home to be in. I got to be a child or a teenager in a lot of ways. Now, I did work hard. I had a job and I was doing everything possible at school. But relationship wise was where I kind of started stumbling. My boyfriend ended up being a stalker, and I had to end up getting a restraining order before the
Yeah.
age of 17. And then I went on to have some dysfunctional marriages after that. And it took me a long time. It took me actually being, I worked for the Department of Defense for many years. And I did a few thousand marital sessions. So I really studied
Wow.
relationship work. And then I started to heal like, okay, you're doing this amazing work with your clients. You got to do this for you. Like
Yeah.
you got to heal like whatever pattern you have going on with these dudes, right? And so I did heal that and I'm in a much healthier relationship now. So I'm thankful for
It's
that.
it
Yes.
really is interesting how like we are programmed when we're born into that kind of family environment. So I've had my own trauma, and so it's taken a long time to grow and to heal and to start making healthy decisions in regards to like loving myself, only accepting people, my partner that is going to love me the way I deserve to be loved. So I can totally relate. And it's like there are so many people out there that have similar backstories that it's just like it's really unfortunate that these generational curses follow us and that we have to end up, hopefully, most of us end up doing the work to heal that trauma because it can be very triggering.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it takes awareness. It takes you got to slow down your life enough to really look at your pattern and say, what is my behavior saying about me? Because it's so
Yeah.
easy to blame other people. And I have done that. I still do it if I'm going to be real honest. Like I love to blame my father for being, so imperfect as he was. But when I look at my part, that's when I get my power back, right? Because
Yeah.
I can't make my father evolve,
Yeah.
but I can choose for myself and my healing to evolve.
That's true. Yeah. I agree with that. And so when did you become a trauma recovery expert? When did that start?
hmm Yeah, that was actually not really part of my plan. Like I knew that I was
It never
gonna
usually
be,
is.
I knew from early days that I was like a mediator in the on the playground at school. Like, can't we all just get along? So I kind
Yeah.
of knew there was something there. And then when I did run away from home, there was this social worker that I was assigned to who was frankly unprofessional, unethical, and I actually want to say maybe even abusive because he did damage. He accused me of being promiscuous. He accused me of abusing drugs.
Oh,
He
wow.
accused me of being a terrible child for my parents, because that's his definition of what a runaway would look
Wow.
like. And none of that was true.
No.
And so it was deeply hurtful, but also it was like a catalyst, like, I'm going to be a therapist, social worker, and I'm not going to treat people like this.
Yeah.
This is not how you help people because it was so unhelpful, right? And so that was kind of like the pivotal point, but I didn't have the word social worker at the time. He was a case manager. And one of my cousins was a social worker. So when I told her that I was thinking of studying sociology, she's like, I think you want social work. And she was right. And then I knew like I wanted to work with children at the beginning and be a part of their healing. And that was rewarding but very difficult work
Oh,
because of their inability to articulate, right? And I
yeah.
had a hard time with play because I didn't get to play as a kid. Like
Yeah.
play was not fun for me because I didn't know how to do it.
Hmm.
It wasn't an option as a child. And so I struggled with that. Like, okay, I want to help. So teenagers was in my go-to. So I was
Yeah.
a school therapist and worked with a lot of amazing teens. And then I pivoted to working with the military because I wanted to do that to travel the world, and I got to do a lot of that. And then I decided after that I wanted to kind of niche down with women who are complex trauma survivors. And that's a lot of what I do, but I still work with men. My male veterans really find that I get them
Hmm.
because even if their trauma was not developmental, usually with the military males that I work with, active duty and veterans, they usually have both complex trauma from their childhood and
Yeah.
then military combat trauma. And I feel like I get them,
Yeah.
and the healing work that I do works with any type of trauma because I really look at different avenues. I've been trained and certified in all the evidence-based trauma modalities, and that's what kind of makes me an expert is
What does
I'm
that
not
mean?
faithful to one model.
So what does that
Oh,
mean?
modalities?
Yeah.
It means like anything research proven to work with trauma, I've been trained in it.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. It doesn't mean I follow them religiously because honestly, one, we're not cookies and one model doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
And
Yeah,
there's problems in each of the models,
sure.
right? Like one problem is going too fast with clients.
Mm,
That's re-traumatizing them. I don't go for that.
yeah,
So I have an eclectic approach where I take the methods that I've seen help people and I'm like, okay, after I do a very thorough assessment, I'm like, this is what I'm thinking for you. Are you willing to try this?
yeah,
We can try it, and if you don't like it, if it doesn't seem like it's helpful or healing, we can pivot because I've got all these tools at this point.
sure. Um, what do you think has been the most helpful in your like bag of tricks or tools that you use and like with the different modalities? Is there one that like really kind of helps all? I know it's like not everyone's
Mhm.
different, but there has to be something that really helps for most people.
Yeah, well, that's actually debatable in my field, honestly.
Oh, okay.
And people get into turf wars about this, right? And so some people will say EMDR because it's using both sides of your brain. Well, I believe EMDR is extremely helpful, but I have problems with it. One is um, putting your finger in front. I don't like my somebody's finger in my face, so
No.
I don't like doing that with clients. Now, there's lights that we can use that works a little different, or you can use your hand. But I also feel, in my experience, it helps with more recent trauma. So
Mm,
the old onion layered old trauma, I
yeah.
don't feel it's as helpful. I like a lot of therapy approaches where you're doing a lot of writing because
Mm,
I believe in seeing that writing helps us go deeper
yeah.
into the why. Like, why am I feeling this? Why is this happening? Where's the pattern? And so there's this modality called cognitive processing therapy, which is a lot of processing work where you're talking about your trauma, you're writing, you're talking, you're writing, you're looking at your stuck points, you're writing.
Yeah.
And so not every client can tolerate that. Um, and what I also like about that modality, it has a lot of exposure in it. So prolonged exposure,
Mm,
where you're talking about the trauma over and over, it brings down the emotional intensity, right?
sure.
So I like that. And then there's another modality that the military trained me on. It's called ART, and it's sort of like an accelerated way to do the EMDR. And one of the things I really love about it that I use no matter what type of therapy I do, it's called alternative endings. Okay. And alternative endings is you are rewriting your trauma to
Yeah.
what you deserve. So this might be like a superhero saved the day, or another parent did, or a teacher made the report and you went into a loving home and not a crappy foster home situation.
Yeah.
Like a really beautiful ending and you can create it. And what that does for people, it gives just some sort of like sense of freedom. It's healing to create your own story.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take away from the truth of what happened, but it just is soothing, is the best way I would describe it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Now,
that
I told you like about a lot of different trauma modalities I use. I also used DBT, which is the motion regulation. I use what's called WET, which is another form of written exposure therapy. I use CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy,
okay.
for trauma. I use it CBTI, that's for insomnia.
I need
Um,
that. I'm kidding. I used to
I
back in
use
the
a
day.
lot of different I use a lot of different modalities, but also I want to say for people that don't have the means to go to therapy, if there's a few things that you could try that are healing, these are called the bottom up approaches that soothe you. This is journaling, this is meditation,
Yeah.
prayer, spiritual reading, going for walks, spending time with a support system. It could be a support group, it could be a good friend that you can openly express. These are healing modalities if you can't go to therapy.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to therapy, do these things too.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. What if someone doesn't deal with their trauma? I know there's a lot of people out there that don't and they never will, but like what kind of impact does that have on someone long term in their mental health if they don't deal with some of those traumatic things that trigger them throughout their life?
Yeah. I get this question, and I think the best answer I have for this is I believe you can function and not treat your trauma, especially if
Okay.
you've already been functioning. Like some people are super high function. The question is how is the quality of your life?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly.
That's the real question. And I think it's compromised. If you don't work on yourself, heal those wounds, I think your life is compromised. You're not living your authentic life. You're not truly experiencing the joy of life. Your body is dysregulated. You don't feel safe in your body. You don't
Yeah.
feel safe in the world. Your relationships may be compromised. You may have a lot of conflict in different areas. And now that we know that trauma impacts every area of your life, is like, what does your physical health look like?
Yeah,
What's
exactly.
achy? What's hurting? You know?
Yeah. So, like I told you, I want to introduce you to someone that's been on the show. And like I've got some stuff, family stuff going on, and it's kind of bothering me a little bit. And like
Mhm.
he's like, these kind of things will come up like in like ailments in your body. And I'm like, well, I've been having some lower back pain for a while now. And so we went through his like we did a prayer at the we didn't do it on camera, but and I was like, I had to like kind of forgive that situation and not allow it to affect me. And I just the back pain's gone away. So like I have to say that yes, I think that if you are not dealing with your trauma, it's going to show up somewhere in your life, either physically, mentally, emotionally, where yeah, you can function, but how good is it going to be like every day, day to day, like having this like it's almost like the dark cloud hanging over your head.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
So now what about your trauma healing? Like having all of
Mhm.
that you went through. Like what was that hard for you to kind of I mean, do we ever really fully heal?
We 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 grow
Right.
and we
Yeah.
heal in different stages, right? And so I will say that, I've done therapy off and on. When I was in college was my first experience, and I was like, whoa, how weird is that to
Yeah.
go and just let everything go to a person that will just hear you and be there. It was really freeing. Now the treatment that I'm in is like my biggest symptom of trauma, and I've had many, but the biggest one was really not taking very good care of my physical health, and I used food to cope.
Mm.
So I ended up being morbidly obese. And so then now I'm in a treatment program for disordered eating or emotional eating. And that has been really helpful in my healing journey because I've had to really dial into those self-care practices that I share, like the meditation, the journaling. I had to stop just preaching about them and actually
Yeah.
implement them into my life in a more disciplined, consistent way. And when you're used to just giving up all your time to helping healing others and not filling your own cup, that's been a challenge for me. It's like, oh, so I know the more that I
Yeah.
do these healing exercises, the more healing is actually happening with me. So even yesterday, I was working on inner child healing, and I was like, wow, this is just, I'm so thankful that and have so much gratitude that I'm continuing to heal.
Yeah. I think that you have got to want to heal. You want to keep getting better. And, that's the only way that you're actually going to fully or be on that road to recovery. And I love it. So I mean my one younger brother, he's done a lot of work. So I'm the oldest of five. And it's like me and him have done a lot of work on ourselves to heal. And so we're kind of disconnected from our other siblings for not really in that place, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yep,
And it's a
it
very
does.
interesting to see how the dynamics are when you and like me and my other sibling, him and I have done the hard work. We know what it takes. That's not easy to deal with that stuff. You gotta face it. You gotta, you know, work on it. Love yourself and kind of go through that whole growth process. So, anyways, tell us a little bit about your summits and retreats.
Yeah, I've hosted 5 summits so far, and they really light me up because it helps me move from individual therapy, where I'm only helping one person at a time. It gives me an opportunity to share messages, my message and other people in the healing professions and survivors to share
Yeah.
their stories of, it's very hopeful, it's inspiring. My next summit in October is called Finding Energy After Trauma. So anyone that does any kind of energy healing work or
Okay.
survivors that can talk about how working with their energy, which really is knowing what to do with those stuck feelings in your body, like how to
Yeah.
release it. That's what energy work is. And it's very powerful. And then next year, I'm doing 4 summits, and each summit is on a different theme of around surrounding trauma. Like an example is finding justice after trauma, or
Mm.
finding financial freedom after trauma, finding love after trauma.
Those are all
And
good
so,
things.
yeah, and I have a whole list of other ideas. I'm going to let my current speakers and sponsors kind of vote on what lights them up, what they want to talk
Yeah.
about for next year. I also host healing retreats now. My first one is in November of 2025. It's coming up. It's going to be in Shenandoah area of Virginia. It's woman centered.
Okay.
It's healing, it's soothing, but also having fun together.
Yeah.
And then in 2026, I'm doing a healing retreat for couples in Italy.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
I am lit up. We have 4 spaces left, 4 rooms left for couples. Another healing retreat for women in Italy as well, and then another healing retreat for women on the coast of Oregon for women that don't want to go international yet. So
Amazing.
lots of exciting things coming up. I'm
Yeah.
really lit up about it.
Yeah. And I bet for you, like doing not only working with your, I guess, patients or clients, but also doing these retreats and summits and watching other people kind of heal and grow is very fulfilling as well because you are
Oh,
the catalyst to that, right? Not just one
oh,
on
it's
one, but
so
to
amazing.
like, groups of people. And that just has got to this has got to like fill your heart up.
More so than I could ever imagine. When speakers started to become more vulnerable on my summit and sharing, I encourage them, but some, of course, are in a different, they're all different levels of healing. But those that
Sure.
share a story like they didn't plan on sharing, and they connect with the audience around that, it's so crazy powerful. Because then the guests, they don't feel so alone. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you are this. Like, I have a few speakers that are super successful businesswomen that are really shakers and movers, and to hear like what they've overcome is crazy powerful.
Yes, it is. I just met a woman the other day and we connected. I saw her and I had to introduce myself. Like, I'm just that type of person. If I see someone, I'm like, oh, I got to know you. I start talking to him. I find a way to start talking to him. And we met for lunch recently. And there was a reason why I came into this woman's life because we sat down. It was like almost immediately she unloaded on me. And it was like her story was kind of like what you said. She was molested by her father, her stepfather, and her stepbrothers at a very young age, ran away, had a baby. The father that she got married to this guy, he ended up like selling her for sex with friends and taking pictures. It was just like my mind was like but I felt so good and I felt honored that I was a safe space for her to talk about this. And, it was there's more people out there that are more damaged than you think. She's very
Yes.
successful. And like she's
Mhm.
got her PhD, and it's like you would never believe by looking at her and the way she presents herself that she had experienced that in her life. And so it's good to be like humble and compassionate towards other people because you never know what their backstory is. But anyways, Karen, this is the point where I'd like. Can you please let people know where they can find you, connect with you, learn more about your summits, your retreats, all the good things?
Awesome. Thank you. Well, my main website right now is healthrivedream.com. And if people have questions, want to get to know me, want to know more about events coming up, it's good to subscribe to my newsletter that's on
Okay.
there. I do have a free gift for your listeners. It's a healing planner, and it has like a
Ooh.
100 journaling prompts in it, the questions that you could take to your therapist, to your doctor, like, whoever is in your healing path, your
Yeah.
journey. And my email is healthrivedream@gmail.com for anyone that would like to reach out.
Awesome. And also the info for your podcast, the Heal Thrive Dream podcast,
Hmm.
down there
That's
too.
also, it's on my website. It's also on Apple, Spotify, all the places.
All the things. All
Yeah,
the
and it's
things.
also called Heal Thrive Dream.
Yeah, awesome. You guys, and put those links in the show notes. So if you connect with Karen, want to learn more, or know someone that could benefit from working with her, going to one of her retreats, do not hesitate to reach out and just go, shoot her an email, see where it goes, and see what she can do to help you recover from your trauma. Karen, this is a part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
Awesome. I would like to say that sometimes when we've been through a lot of hard stuff, it's very easy to want to give up and maybe feel a little helpless or hopeless. And I just want to just gently remind you that change is possible and you only need a little mustard seed of faith and hope to start living your best life. So think about what baby step could you take next to heal.
Yeah, amen. And it's worth it. The hard work is worth it because what's on the other side of that journey of learning to heal is so beautiful, so rewarding, and your life just gets even better. Karen, thank you so much for sharing your story with us and your why. I love it. I think it's necessary. I think more people need to deal with their trauma and try to recover and heal as best that they can. And it just makes the world a much better place. So thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you for the same.
Oh, you're welcome. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.